Remember the good old days? Back in school, you were bored. You'd write down your own little rankings in your book of the best football players in the world. I did that and I know you did too. And it got me thinking, I haven't actually made a rankings or tier list for this channel yet. So let's do that. It's a good time to do so. The UCL round of 16 is just around the corner. All the leagues are more than halfway through. So let's do it. Let's make a tier list. A tier list that will update at the end of the season. I present to you all my football players tier list of the 2024-25 season so far. Now what you're about to see isn't a tier list for the outright best players in the world, which would look a lot differently than what you're about to see, which is a tier list for, in my opinion, the best performing players for this season and this season only so far. I'm giving everyone a clean slate. Another thing, we're all different. You're 100% gonna disagree with at least a few of my choices. If so, that's fine. I'd love to talk about it. Comment below, let's get discussion going. Just one request, keep it civil, don't murder me. Alright, let's get going, but before that, I have set some rules for myself. Rule number 1, I've limited it to only 30 players. Why? I don't know, it's just a nice round number. Rule number 2, I'm only considering players in Europe, which means Messi, Ronaldo and whoever else is in Saudi, US or wherever, they won't be in this tier list. It is way too hard to judge how good or how bad a certain player is playing in those leagues. Leagues that are, with all due respect, you know. So that's a rule, you have to play in Europe. Now let's finally begin. Now I've done this in 3 tiers, and of course we'll start with tier 3, otherwise known as the good but not quite world class tier. It's an awful name, but just go with it. Alright, we start with David Raya, Arsenal goalkeeper. I think he's been underrated this season. Not only is he a great shot stopper, but he rarely makes mistakes in his passing, knows when to come out, to stay back. Just in general, I think he calms down the defense. Next up, Bayern's Michael Olise. He took a big jump this summer from Crystal Palace all the way to Bayern Munich. It's a different level, the pressure is on, and I think he's responded greatly. And also a quality watch. He's a baller. Next up, Chris Wood. Did you guys know he's 33? Well, you do now. And he's now peaking. The ace striker for a Forest side, currently breaking the status quo. And now another Prem striker, Alexander Isak, haunting Arsenal fans every single week for having not signed him. Now we go to the Serie A for Alessandro Bastoni, warrior centre-back and only 25 years of age. One for the present and the future. Atalanta striker Matteo Retegui, currently 3rd in the race for the European Golden Boot. Then Arsenal's Saliba and Gabriel. Saliba is a player that I think should be above this tier, but I don't think he's quite playing to that level. So he's here. And Gabriel, he's been great. We all know about his goal-scoring threat, but in general, he's more composed these days. And for me, this is the best centre-back partnership in world football. Now to another partnership, a midfield one, of Gravenberch and McAllister from Liverpool. Salah is the star, and yes, deserves most of the plaudits. But don't forget about these two. Their careers being reignited under Arne Slot has played a huge part as well, as has another teammate, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Look, I get all the concerns around this guy, especially defensively, but even with that, he's amazing, man. You can't deny his talent. And honestly, he's tier 3 right now, but he should be tier 2, maybe tier 1. Maybe he's letting himself down a bit. Bayer Leverkusen's Florian Wirtz. This 21-year-old is already about to equal his goals and assist tally from last season this season. He's taken a big step forward, and that's what you want to see. Sky's the limit. And it also attends to Jamal Musiala, one of my favorite players to watch in football. He is art on the football pitch. Let me know who would you rather have in your team, Wirtz or Musiala. And now the final player of tier 3, otherwise known as the great but not quite upper echelon tier, is Viktor Gyökeres. The only player in this tier list not in the top 5 leagues. And you know why? He has been a monster. The most sought after striker in world football. Enough said. Now we go on to tier 2, otherwise known as the World 11 tier. And we start with Ousmane Dembele. As inconsistent as they come, he's always up and down. But my goodness, right now is he up. Then Omar Marmoush. He's had a great start with City, but even before that with Frankfurt, he's already been a baller and maybe the breakout player of the year so far. Now to his new teammate Erling Haaland. A player similar to Trent has a lot of critics, a big weakness if you will, but the man gets paid to score goals and he's doing that. Give him service and he will score. It's that simple. And we're staying in the Prem with Bukayo Saka. Fun fact, even though he's been injured since December, no one in the league has has created more big chances than Saka. I think this season in every single regard he has taken a step forward. He's more efficient, his dribbling is more direct and more lethal. An all-round baller, just like his countryman Cole Palmer. I know as of the last few weeks it's taken a bit of a downturn, but I still think in that time he's been impressive. And 100% his monstrous start to the season definitely for me still warrants him a place in this tier. I think he's amazing. And we now go to Spain for Federico Valverde. I mean, what can I say about this guy? He's a player that every team should want. He'll fit into every team. In any era, he's quality. Then Jude Bellingham, still as clutch as ever, and another all-rounder, little to no weaknesses. Now we go to the Bundesliga for an Englishman, Harry Kane, my favourite for the European Golden Boot. Also, I wonder if the curse will be lifted. Let me know what you think. Now, a former Bayern striker, Lewandowski, still going strong for me, still one of the best players in the world. 19 goals in La Liga at 36, that's not to be taken lightly. Kylian Mbappe, who had a rough start with Real Madrid, we all know about this, but since then he most definitely has found form, and for me Real's best player this season. I place him at tier 2 and I think most of you will agree, and I think you'll also agree his potential is way beyond tier 1. Lamine Yamal. Last season was not a fluke. This kid is the best youngster we have seen since Mbappe, just straight up. Every week it's another crazy clip. The best youngster in football, maybe the best youngster in sports. Now to his teammate Pedri. A lot of you will disagree with this, especially if you see his stats. But the story of how good Pedri is cannot be told with his stats. When I watch him play, I'm honestly mesmerized. Even at 22, his understanding of the game is unbelievable. In my personal opinion, definitely tier 2. My only hope is he can stay fit. Vinicius Jr. He hasn't been quite as good as last season, but he's still Vinicius, still electrifying, and still world class. But yeah, he could still be better. And the last player of tier 2, otherwise known as the World 11 tier, Virgil van Dijk. Last season coming into this new season, a lot of talk of Van Dijk or Saliba. Well, he's most definitely shut that up. The best in the Prem, and for me, still the best in the world. And now we go to tier 1, otherwise known as the Ballon d'Or bound tier. Now you might be wondering, at the beginning I said only 30 players. Well, I've already named 28. So this tier will only have 2 players. And that's because I feel these two have been far and away the best in the world. They deserved their own tier, away from the rest. And the first is Barcelona's Rafinha. 21 goals and assists in La Liga. 12 goals and assists in the Champions League in 8 games. A lethal left foot, an amazing pass. I never saw this coming from Rafinha. Going from Leeds to Barca, I knew he was good play, but I always thought that was a weird signing. I felt Barca needed more, but I was wrong. The pressure he's been under, he's lived up to all of it. He's gone way beyond it. In that Barca side, for the future it will belong to Lamine Yamal. But for now, he's gonna have to wait. Rafinha's kinda come out of nowhere. For me, his performance this season is the best I've seen in a Barca shirt since Messi left. Now we go to the final player, and you all know who it is, Mo Salah. Salah has been so outright the best this season, there's not much that really needs to be said. I'm sure you all know already. But I will say one thing. The way this man is playing, he could very well end this season having broken the Premier League goal scoring record and the assist record at the exact same time. Ladies and gentlemen, that, and I don't say this lightly, is Messi-like. Statistically, he has been something the Prem has never seen. That's not opinion, that's just straight up fact. Salah and Rafinha, for me, the 2 best players so far this season. Alright, so here it is, my player tier list for this season so far. Now you should know, this was hard, really hard to narrow down to just 30 players, and there are some honourable mentions. Odegaard, De Bruyne, Kimmich, Rudiger, Rodrigo, Thuram, Hakimi, Rice, Caicedo, Baena, Simmons, and quite a few more. It was really tough. These players missed out either due to injury, not playing enough, or just in general, for me, with my personal interpretation of the season, not being quite as good as the 30 I named. And we're going to end it there. Remember, I will update this tier list at the end of the season. But for now, let me know what you think. Comment below, like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. I am the Football Enthusiast. Take care of yourselves.